Hi everyone, Reverend Dr. Katie here, and I'm bringing you a quick Facebook Live to talk about discovering your gifts. We have a ton of new people in the group. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you happen to be watching this on another platform, come and join us. We're on Facebook at the Metaphysical Christian and be part of this wonderful community. We're so close to 5,000 people. I'm really, really, really jazzed about that. And I want to talk today about discovering your spiritual gifts, and especially your metaphysical gifts. Everyone has them. Absolutely everyone does. Those of you who have downloaded my free guide, like your steps to discovering your metaphysical gifts, one of the ways I organize these gifts are like angelic gifts, communicating with angels, or earth gifts and really tapping into that earth energy, and then healing gifts. And these all overlap, and there's no limits, y'all. There's absolutely no limits. The God is abundant, and you can have access and develop competency, and more than competency, great skill in actually all of these areas. And I know today I had in between different meetings and responsibilities, it was a beautiful day here where I live. At the beginning of March, it was like 80 degrees. And I was able to step outside onto the earth and just be and really, really get that energy from the earth. And that's just a really small example that all of us can do about cultivating earth energy, but that kind of communication between the natural world and ourselves. Like, we're all part of the natural world. So that makes perfect sense. And I want to speak for a few minutes about those of you who especially are kind of at the beginning stage of this journey, or maybe you've been on the journey for a while, but you haven't really moved forward for some reason. Like, you've joined the group, that's great. You've downloaded the guide, that's perfect. But from there, you're feeling a little bit frozen. Like you're not really feeling like you have an anchor. And this comes about because I know so many of you have a church home where you're not free to talk about this kind of stuff, or some of you don't have a church home because you grew up in an environment that just wasn't very supportive about you and your gifts and flourishing. Totally get it. And so then it's like you don't have an anchor anywhere. You don't have an anchor in a church home, or even if you do, you might not feel comfortable talking about this kind of stuff there. And then you don't have an anchor in the metaphysical world because you don't have any, you don't have any training, and you probably looked at a bunch of different places and they don't really know how to talk about Jesus, or they talk about Jesus in a very different way than those of us who are Jesus followers talk about Jesus and understand Jesus to have relevance and amazing relevance in our lives. So what are the consequences of this? All right, if you stay in this state for too long, it can be really rudderless, totally anchorless, and you feel kind of like you're floating all the time. But you know how when you're on a boat with like no oar, no rudder, no anything, like where it just skims the top of the surface, you don't have an oar. If you don't have a rudder, you don't know which way to go. And you don't have any control over what, you may know which way to go, but you have no control over where the boat goes. So you'll kind of feel like that, like you're constantly spinning and like you have zero control. You're going upriver, you're going downriver, you're going to that pocket, or you're going on the wave, right? And you'll just be kind of skimming along. And so in addition to this feeling of just kind of scooching along down without any anchor, without any anything to kind of keep you steady or give you direction, it can also have physical manifestations. So tell me if these resonate with you. They might be different for everyone, but you might actually have headaches. Like, it's when you're trying to find your direction, that can result in headaches or lightheadedness. And that's probably a result of like your crown and your third eye just being kind of out of sync, or they're trying to give you information, but you don't have anywhere to ground. You don't know where to go. And then you might have a lot of apprehension about your health. It may cause more fatigue, and then you have to lay down and not sure how to get up and about on this particular path. So I'm kind of curious if this describes any of you, whether the physical symptoms I've talked about, kind of this feeling like you're not, where's your anchor? Like, where in the world is your anchor? If it's not in a church home, or not in a church home where you feel free and light and like you can talk about this kind of thing. And if it's not in your sort of practices because you don't know what your gifts are. So this is the kind of first step, is to kind of find your anchor, to find your way, so you can root down, anchor down, and then move outward. And so you can start to actually develop your gifts, actually start to figure out what those are. And of course, that's what this group is for. That's what all the resources that I provide are for. And if that's resonating with you, then yeah, maybe it's time for you to take the next steps. Maybe it's time for you to go ahead and take the plunge. figure out what your gifts are, move beyond the apprehension that you've had, and kind of find out what your aura is, find out what your rudder is, so you can move forward. If that is describing you, I encourage you to go ahead and reach out to me. I'm actually talking to a ton of people right now about possibly participating in a couple of options that I have coming up. I'm putting finishing details on all of those. So if that interests you, if you're ready to find your anchor, ready to get your rudder and like start to explore what your gifts may be, and you have them, absolutely everyone does, then yeah, let's talk. I would love to be able to resource you in that particular way. And the world is so much better when we all know what our gifts are, when we're all out there doing the Jesus work. We can't do the Jesus work until we can become anchored in the Jesus work, right? So this is a part of the process of figuring out what we're doing. We're all doing it together. Jesus says he would not leave us without an advocate, would not leave us without a shepherd. So we know Jesus is always at our side. And then we have this wonderful communities that are springing up that can help support you on your journey and help you uncover those gifts so you can figure out what those are and get out there in the world and use them. Yeah, so I see one comment came in, and yeah, it said that the lightheadedness fatigue is descriptive. So there are, yeah, definitely solutions to this, especially, you know, when we're feeling like we're like we don't have an anchor. So sorry you're experiencing that, but yes to finding a solution for it. Yeah, so let's not wait anymore. You guys, like, I just see a lot of people lingering. And if you linger, a lot of people are saying, well, I've got to wait until this, like, I have to wait until my church situation is figured out. I have to wait until my home situation is figured out. I have to wait until this is done. If you have all of those reasons that are keeping you from moving forward and finding your gifts, you're going to be waiting for forever. There's always something else that will say it needs your attention, when actually this, your own soul, your own spiritual life, needs your attention the most. And guess what? That helps you solve all the other stuff. For real. Like I'm living proof, right? Like finding your anchor and using these practices helps you discover the solutions that you need for all of other life's curveballs. And it helps us kind of manifest some solutions to those curveballs so they don't overwhelm us. So we always have those anchors. We always have the anchors that will help us know exactly where we are, why we're there, and what we're going for. And then we can be really open to life surprises in a really beautiful way. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Comment, ask questions. If you are ready, just reach out to me. Just send me a private message or an email, and I would love to hear from you. And let's just see if we can find a solution to where you want to go. All right, everyone, talk to you soon.